The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm, golden hue over the quiet suburban street. It was the kind of evening that felt pregnant with possibility, as if the very air shimmered with anticipation. I stood at the threshold of our new home, my mother's hand clasped tightly in mine, the weight of uncertainty settling like a heavy shroud over my shoulders. As we stepped through the door, a symphony of unfamiliar sounds greeted us. The creak of floorboards beneath our feet, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant echo of laughter from a neighboring house. The air was thick with the scent of fresh paint, mingling with the comforting aroma of home-cooked meals. I took a hesitant step forward, my eyes sweeping over the unfamiliar surroundings. The walls seemed to pulse with life, whispering secrets of the past and promises of the future. But it was the figure standing in the corner that drew my attention. A boy, with tousled hair and eyes that held a world of mystery. He stood there, a silent sentinel, his gaze fixed on something unseen, lost in a labyrinth of his own thoughts. With a tentative smile, I approached him, the sound of my footsteps echoing in the stillness of the room. "Hi there," I said, my voice gentle, cautious. "I'm Emily. What's your name?" The boy glanced up, his eyes guarded, a flicker of wariness passing over his features before he looked away again. His silence spoke volumes, a wall erected between us, impenetrable and inscrutable. Undeterred, I persisted, determined to bridge the gap that stretched between us like an uncharted chasm. "Are you excited about living here?" I ventured, hoping to elicit some response from him, some glimpse into the world he kept hidden beneath his stoic exterior. He remained silent, his silence a palpable barrier between us. But beneath the surface I sensed a flicker of curiosity, a spark of interest that belied his outward indifference. Suddenly the boy shifted his weight and met my gaze. "I'm Alex," he said softly, his voice carrying a hint of vulnerability. A surge of relief washed over me at his response, a glimmer of connection forming between us in that fleeting moment of shared recognition. As the evening wore on and the shadows lengthened, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled like a stone in the pit of my stomach. What secrets lay hidden behind those guarded eyes? And what role would this mysterious boy play in the unfolding drama of our new life together? Only time would tell, but as I stood there bathed in the fading light of the setting sun, I knew that our paths were irrevocably intertwined, bound by the fragile threads of fate and circumstance. And as the first stars began to twinkle in the night sky, I couldn't help but wonder what adventures awaited us in this brave new world. As the story unfolds, it is revealed that Alex has faced significant challenges in his life, including the loss of his parents and a tumultuous upbringing in foster care. Despite his troubled past, Alex is resilient and determined to forge a new path for himself, with the support of Emily and her family. The days stretched into weeks, each one a blur of uncertainty and adjustment as our family navigated the uncharted waters of our new reality. The once familiar routines of our past lives were replaced by the tentative dance of strangers, each step fraught with the weight of expectation and the burden of the unknown. In the hushed corridors of our home, the echoes of whispered conversations lingered like ghosts, the adults around us grappling with the weighty decisions that lay ahead. With our parents' untimely passing casting a shadow over our lives, discussions about Jake's fate loomed heavily over our heads, a specter of uncertainty that refused to be ignored. In the midst of it all, Jake remained a silent observer, his presence a constant reminder of the fragile threads that bound us together. Despite my best efforts to reach out, he remained elusive, retreating into the sanctuary of his own thoughts whenever I attempted to breach the walls he had erected around his heart. Meanwhile, the adults around us whispered in hushed tones, their voices tinged with concern and uncertainty. Relatives with well-meaning but misguided intentions debated the merits of sending Jake to an orphanage, their words a haunting refrain that echoed through the caverns of our home. But amidst the uncertainty, a glimmer of determination flickered within me, a spark of defiance that refused to be extinguished. I couldn't bear the thought of Jake being cast aside, left to fend for himself in a world that seemed intent on tearing us apart. And so, with a resolve born of desperation and love, I made a promise to myself. A promise to protect Jake, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifices required. "Emily, have you given any thought to what we discussed earlier?" My mother asked, her voice tinged with concern as she watched me from across the room. I hesitated, grappling with the weight of her words. I don't know, Mom, I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. I can't imagine Jake being sent away. He's family, Mom, and I won't let him go. Her expression softened, a flicker of understanding passing between us. I know, sweetheart, she said, her voice gentle, but we have to consider what's best for Jake. We can't let our emotions cloud our judgment. I nodded, the weight of her words settling like a stone in the pit of my stomach. But even as doubt gnawed at the edges of my resolve, I knew one thing for certain. I would do whatever it took to keep our family together, no matter the cost. As the days wore on and the weight of uncertainty pressed down upon us like a heavy fog, every moment felt like a battle against the looming specter of doubt. The whispers of relatives and the looming threat of orphanages cast a dark shadow over our newfound family, their presence a constant reminder of the fragile nature of our situation. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a seed of determination took root within me, a fierce resolve born of love and an unwavering belief in the power of family. I couldn't bear the thought of Jake being torn away from us, his sense of stability shattered, adrift in a sea of strangers with no one to anchor him in the storm. And so, with a resolve forged in the fires of adversity, I made a promise to myself. A promise to protect Jake, no matter the cost, no matter the sacrifices required. The pivotal moment arrived during a tense family gathering, where the fate of our little makeshift family hung in the balance. As discussions veered towards the heartbreaking inevitability of sending Jake to an orphanage, a surge of defiance rose within me, a fierce determination to keep our family intact at all costs. Standing up with a resolve I didn't know I possessed, I declared that I would take care of Jake, my voice ringing out in the silence of the room like a clarion call. The reaction was immediate. Eyes widened in disbelief, whispers of shock and disbelief rippling through the gathered relatives like a tidal wave. But I stood my ground, fueled by a fierce determination to keep my promise to Jake, no matter the obstacles that lay in our path. Emily, are you sure about this? My mother asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty as she watched me from across the room. I met her gaze, my determination unwavering. I'm sure, Mom, I replied, my voice steady and resolute. Jake is family, and I won't let him go. We'll figure this out together. Her expression softened, a flicker of pride shining in her eyes. I know you will, sweetheart, she said, her voice filled with quiet determination. And I'll be here to support you every step of the way. In that moment, as the weight of our decision settled around us like a heavy cloak, I knew one thing for certain. No matter what the future held, Jake would always have a home with us, a family to call his own. And as we stood together, united in our resolve, I couldn't help but feel a sense of peace settle over me, knowing that no matter what trials lay ahead, we would face them together, as a family. As the dust settled from the tumultuous events of our decision to keep Jake within our family fold, a sense of tentative calm descended upon our home. Yet beneath the surface, the currents of change continued to swirl, propelling us forward into uncharted territory. With each passing day, we embarked on a delicate dance of adaptation, navigating the intricacies of our new family dynamic with a mixture of trepidation and hope. For Jake, the transition was especially challenging, his walls of stoicism slowly beginning to crumble in the face of unwavering patience and love. Together, we embarked on tentative outings, walks in the park, movie nights at home, each moment a building block in our journey towards trust and understanding. Slowly but surely, Jake began to open up, his guarded demeanor melting away like frost beneath the warm rays of the sun. Meanwhile, the adults around us continued to whisper in hushed tones, their concern for Jake's well-being a constant undercurrent in our daily lives. But with each passing day, their skepticism gave way to grudging acceptance, as they witnessed the blossoming bond between us. Emily, do you think Jake is adjusting okay? My mother asked one evening, her voice tinged with concern as she watched us from across the room. I glanced over at Jake, who sat on the couch with a book in hand, a small smile playing at the corners of his lips. I think so, Mom, I replied, a sense of pride swelling within me. He's opening up more every day. I can see it. Her expression softened, a flicker of relief shining in her eyes. I'm glad to hear that, she said, her voice filled with quiet gratitude. I just want him to be happy, you know? I nodded, my own heart swelling with emotion. I know, Mom, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. We'll make sure he has everything he needs. And as the days turned into weeks, and then months, our family dynamic began to shift. The once quiet halls of our home echoing with the sound of shared laughter and inside jokes. We were a family, imperfect but fiercely united in our love for one another, navigating the twists and turns of our new beginning with courage and determination. As the seasons shifted and time marched inexorably forward, our family found itself standing at the precipice of new beginnings. With each passing day, Jake's confidence grew, his once guarded demeanor melting away in the warmth of our unconditional love and support. It was during one of our heart-to-heart conversations, beneath the star-studded canopy of the night sky, that Jake revealed his deepest aspirations to me. His eyes shone with a quiet intensity as he spoke, his voice filled with a sense of purpose that resonated deep within my soul. I've been thinking, Emily, he said, his voice tinged with excitement. I want to become an elementary school teacher. I was taken aback by his revelation, but also filled with an overwhelming sense of pride. Here was Jake, a young man who had overcome so much adversity, now poised to chase after his dreams with unwavering determination. That's amazing, Jake, I replied, my voice filled with genuine admiration. I have no doubt that you'll make an incredible teacher. His smile was radiant, a beacon of hope in the darkness of uncertainty. Thanks, Emily, he said, his voice tinged with gratitude. I want to make a difference, you know. I want to help kids believe in themselves, just like you've helped me. Tears welled in my eyes at his words, my heart swelling with a sense of pride and gratitude. You already have, Jake, I said, my voice choked with emotion. You've taught me more than you'll ever know. And as we stood there beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, I knew that Jake's dream was within reach, his future brimming with endless possibilities and boundless opportunities for growth and exploration. Meanwhile, as Jake's passion for teaching ignited a fire within his soul, I found myself reassessing my own priorities. My job, once the focal point of my existence, now paled in comparison to the opportunity to be there for Jake, to cheer him on as he pursued his dreams and aspirations. With a renewed sense of purpose, I made the decision to step back from my career, to carve out a new path that would allow me to be present for Jake, to support him every step of the way. For Jake, the path to realizing his dream of becoming an elementary school teacher was paved with challenges and triumphs alike. With unwavering support from our family, he threw himself into his studies with a fervor that bordered on obsession, his passion for education burning brightly in the depths of his soul. Emily, can you help me study for this math test? Jake asked one evening, his voice tinged with a hint of uncertainty. I smiled, a surge of pride swelling within me at his request. Of course, Jake, I replied, my voice filled with genuine enthusiasm. I'd be happy to help. Together we pored over textbooks and practice problems, the hours slipping away unnoticed as we delved into the intricacies of fractions and equations. With each passing moment, I marveled at Jake's tenacity and determination, his thirst for knowledge a testament to his unwavering commitment to his dreams. And as the days turned into weeks, Jake's hard work began to bear fruit, his grades improving with each passing test. With each A earned and each milestone achieved, his confidence grew, his once dormant dreams now within reach. Meanwhile, as Jake flourished academically, I found myself undergoing a transformation of my own. Freed from the constraints of my former career, I threw myself into new pursuits with a fervor that bordered on obsession, determined to carve out a path that would allow me to support Jake in his journey while pursuing my own passions and interests. Emily, have you thought about what you want to do next? My mother asked one evening, her voice filled with curiosity. I nodded, a sense of excitement bubbling within me. I have, I replied, my voice tinged with anticipation. I've decided to enroll in night and weekend classes to become a web designer. Her eyes widened in surprise, a flicker of pride shining in their depths. That's wonderful, Emily, she said, her voice filled with genuine enthusiasm. I have no doubt that you'll excel in whatever you choose to do. And as I embarked on my own journey of growth and self-discovery, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the opportunities that lay ahead. For Jake and me, the future was filled with endless possibilities and boundless opportunities for growth and exploration, and together we would face it head-on, united in our shared dreams and aspirations. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the quiet neighborhood, Emily and Jake stood on the porch of their home, basking in the tranquil evening. It was a moment of quiet reflection, a pause in the hustle and bustle of their busy lives to savor the sense of accomplishment that filled the air. In the days that followed their decision to embrace their new family dynamic, Jake found himself thriving in his role as an elementary school teacher. His natural affinity for working with children and his genuine passion for education made him a beloved figure among his students. With patience and dedication, he fostered a nurturing environment where each child felt seen, heard, and valued. Emily, meanwhile, flourished in her career as a web designer. Her creative flair and keen eye for detail propelled her to new heights of success, earning her accolades and recognition within the industry. Each project became an opportunity to push the boundaries of her craft, to explore new ideas and concepts, and to leave her mark on the digital landscape. As they sat together in the cozy embrace of their living room, Emily and Jake shared stories of their respective successes, their faces alight with pride. Jake spoke animatedly about the breakthroughs he had witnessed in his students, the joy of seeing their faces light up with understanding as they grasped new concepts. And Emily, Jake said, turning to her with a smile, "Your latest design for the client's website is absolutely stunning. You really outdid yourself this time." Emily beamed, her cheeks flushed with pleasure. "Thanks, Jake," she replied, feeling a swell of pride in her chest. "I couldn't have done it without your support and encouragement." In that moment, as they basked in the warmth of each other's company, Emily and Jake knew that they had found their footing in this brave new world they had created together. They had faced their fears, embraced the unknown, and emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. And as they looked towards the future, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, hand in hand as a family. With each passing day, their bond grew stronger, a testament to the power of love, determination, and the enduring promise of new beginnings.